Peter Blake. B. Dartford 1932. Painter, sculptor, and designer Peter Blake is often described as the godfather of British pop art. He was determined to make art accessible, and a fascination with popular culture forms the basis for his work. Blake's use of imagery, from pin-up magazines to advertisements, captured the mood of the swinging 60s. He works across many different media and also produces graphic art, notably album covers. Blake often plays on the difference between reality and illusion, combining paint and collage so it is difficult to decide which is which. Lifeline. 1951-53 does his national service in the RAF. 1953-56 studies at the Royal College of Art, London. 1962 has his first solo show at 1983 retrospective of his work The Portal Gallery, London is held at the Tate, London. 2002 receives a knighthood. Serial, She Devil of Naked Madness. Fake gems adorn this collage of a hermaphrodite-type figure, which was inspired by the billboards used to advertise circus freaks, a popular theme in Blake's work. 1957, Oil on Canvas, 75 by 22 cm, Pollant House, Chichester, UK.
Fourth floor of the Museum of Modern Art in New York, and we're looking at Robert Rauschenberg.
Port Arthur,
this is a combine,
Texas,
not quite a sculpture,
1925.
not quite a painting, from
Florida,
1955.
2008. Together with fellow painter Jasper Johns, Robert Rauschenberg was one of the most influential figures in the move away from abstract expressionism. He is best known for the creation of combine painting, an art form in which he combined an often bizarre mix of images and media, such as oil painting with screen-printed images and three-dimensional consumer objects. During the 1960s, Rauschenberg began working in two dimensions, using collages of news images to create silkscreen prints. Although seemingly abstract, viewed close-up, the images relate to each other and use them to illustrate a point about modern life. During the 1980s and 90s, he focused on collage, finding novel ways to transfer photographic images. Lifeline. 1948 studied art at the Académie Paris. 1948-52 studies a famous experimental institution, Black Mountain College, North Carolina, and in New York. 1958 Blake's first solo show in 1964 controversially awarded grand prize at Venice Biennale. 1970 sets up studio in Florida, where he still lives. 1998 the Guggenheim, New York, holds a retrospective. Tracer, one of a series of silkscreen paintings Rauschenberg created between 1963 and 1964. This alludes to the Vietnam War and features a bald eagle and helicopters, symbols of patriotism and war. 1964, Oil and Silkscreen on Canvas, 214 by 152 cm, Nelson Atkins Museum of Art, Kansas City, U.S. Monogram. Rauschenberg's most famous combined painting consists of a color-splashed wooden platform featuring a stuffed goat wearing a tire. It is thought to be a reworking of the religious masterpiece The Scapegoat by Pre-Raphaelite William Holman Hunt. 1955-59, Mixed Media, 107 by 160 by 162 cm, Moderna Museet, Stockholm, Sweden. Painting relates to both art and life. A pair of socks is no less suitable to make a painting than wood, nails, turpentine, oil, and fabric. Robert Rauschenberg. In context. Television. The 1950s were a time of great optimism and consumer confidence, when increasing numbers of products were mass-marketed and advertised. Television was an exciting new medium that beamed entertainment and advertising messages into millions of homes, all of which had a huge impact on pop art. Advertisement for Philips Color Television, published in Réalité magazine in September 1967. Canto 31. This is one of a series of illustrations of the 14th century allegory Dante's Inferno, in which Dante and Virgil tour hell. Rauschenberg used images transferred from print media to represent characters in the allegory. Here, the guardians of hell are portrayed as Olympic athletes. 1959-60, solvent transfer, pencil, gouache, and color pencil, 37 by 22 cm, Neuberger Museum of Art, New York, U.S. Canyon. Robert Rauschenberg. 1959, combine on canvas, 207.6 by 177.8 by 60. 9 centimeters, private collection.
Closer look. Canyon. Robert Rauschenberg. Rauschenberg's Canyon is one of the most celebrated of his combined paintings. The artist was on the verge of international celebrity when he made it, but at the time the work of painters such as de Kooning was still far better known. Works such as Canyon, which bridged painting and sculpture, seemed to offer a way forward just when abstract expressionism, see page 502, had stopped attracting promising younger painters, and its language of expressive gesture was becoming conventional. Rauschenberg's use of second-hand images and real objects was to inspire the pop artists who emerged on the New York scene soon afterwards. Story. Any reading of Rauschenberg should take account of his love of the accidental during the working process. It is also likely that his homosexuality led him to conceal some of the meanings in his work. Nonetheless, Canyon suggests two distinct storylines. One is America in the space race. The other is a retelling of the classical legend of Ganymede, who was seized by an eagle to be cupbearer for Jupiter, the king of the gods. Why American power, the eagle, above, and the Statue of Liberty, below, are both symbols of American power. They linked flight with national identity at a time when the US was engaged in a space race with the USSR. Part of the function of the pillow might be to symbolically ensure a soft landing. Source material. Rauschenberg sometimes chose images of personal significance. This is a photograph of his son Christopher. Space race. The image of the night sky could represent both the heavens into which Ganymede is raised and a symbol for the aspirations to travel into outer space. Influences. Rembrandt's Ganymede. In his depiction of the abduction of Ganymede, Rembrandt painted the boy being grasped by an eagle. The buttocks in Rembrandt's version are echoed by the hanging pillow in Canyon. Another of Rauschenberg's works, Pale for Ganymede, comments on the urination of the boy in the painting. The Abduction of Ganymede. Rembrandt, 1635. Composition. The critic Leo Steinberg has argued that Rauschenberg's methods of composition represent a fundamental shift in art, moving away from the idea of the painting as a vertical surface towards what he called the flatbed picture plane, on which objects or images could be scattered. This concept applied regardless of whether the paintings were displayed on the wall or the floor. Combines. By the time he produced Canyon, Rauschenberg had been working on his combined paintings for several years. Combined paintings lie somewhere between painting and sculpture. Some works hang on the wall but also rest on the ground. Others, like this one, have elements that exist in real space such as the eagle, or are subject to actual gravity, the hanging pillow. When working, the artist must know that he is doing it for the first time. Robert Rauschenberg. Technique. Rauschenberg's materials frequently included stuffed animals which he collected for his work, usually without first knowing exactly how he would use them. The eagle was purchased at the auction of the estate of a deceased sculptor. This was in contrast to the Dadaist Marcel Duchamp's preference for mass-produced objects, or to pop art's concentration on consumer culture. Collage and lettering. Picasso and Braque were the first to use stenciled lettering in their Cubist paintings. Rauschenberg's use of the device showed how Cubist influence not only served as a path to abstraction, but also contributed to a new painting of modern life. Abstract expressionism influenced Rauschenberg, who once made an artwork by erasing a de Kooning drawing, was ambivalent about abstract expressionism. He adopted its vigorous brushwork without its sense of emotional commitment. These marks owe as much to accidents of gravity as to personal passion.